Alright. Welcome. This is Lord Virgilus. And this, I guess, is going to be kind of a podcast-ish thing. I don't know exactly what exactly this is going to be called. But it's going to be mainly me talking about stuff. Maybe with some visual stuff. I'm not totally 100%. But we'll take a look here. We got birds in the background. I do apologize for that. But I have limited space to record this stuff. So, as you can tell with my LPs, so there you go. So going on, I do want to talk about a few things. Major thing I do want to talk about for this is and I always wanted this, is the difference between the American version and the Japanese version of Zelda 2. There's slight differences that make it good and make it even worse than it, well, supposedly already is. So basically, I want to say that Zelda 2 is basically one of my favorite, and I mean, actually is, well, hands down, it's my favorite Zelda title, just putting it out there right now. So that's why basically I'm doing that, and that's why I did it for my first LP, so why not? I absolutely freaking love Zelda 2. It was the first Zelda title I played. That is probably why. Other than that, yeah, I'll just go say it's pretty much on biased opinions. That's basically what it is. So, nostalgic and biased opinions. That's about it. So, if there's anyone basically wants to say, like, Zelda 2 sucks, yeah, well, compared to the other games that are in the series, yes, it does suck. But it was a stepping stone to the other games. Like, I think Link to the Past would be pretty much, I guess, the same-ish a little bit. Maybe it wouldn't have magic because magic was introduced in the second one. Who knows? That's the thing. There's all sorts of different stuff. And plus, you know, if there wasn't a second game that's like totally different from the first one, how would Nintendo know if they were doing a good game for Zelda 3, which is Link to the Past? And that's the thing. So if there wasn't a second game, the third game, I think, would have been probably good, but not as good because people wanted a better Zelda at the time, and they delivered. And they got Link to the Past. That's what it is. I don't know. I don't know what it is. That's what I'm saying. It's just pretty much speculation. It's pretty much what I think. I have no idea. So pretty much going on. Coming down to the chase is that's why I want to talk about Zelda 2's regional differences. I have a list here. So I'm going to go down pretty much little stuff to bigger stuff, basically. Actually, it's in the order that I kind of want to, that I think that I like the different version. Like, basically, I'm going to compare the American version to the Japanese version. What is different from the American version in the Japanese version? Basically, that's what I'm going to be talking about. So, I go down with certain things. I'm going here and I'm waving my arms all around, so I'm hitting my mic once in a while. There's certain things that I want to do, and also will probably go in the order of least, like, okay things to things that I really think they should have put in the American version, if they could. Okay, so going down, we got number 10. Number 10 is pretty much as soon as you load up the game. You got the North Castle, you got Link standing there, well, Zelda right behind him. You got the pillars, pretty much the same as the American version. You go to the right, you go to the left. Different. Boom! Right there. Pillars don't go all the way to the end of the stage. Basically, a couple of pillars, and then ceiling, wall, different decor. That's basically what I'm basically right off the bat. Which goes into number 9 also, which mainly you sing Link. You see the Famicom version, he doesn't have a mouth. He has no mouth. Or if it is, it's very small. Like a little pixel maybe, instead of like a few pixels down. You got there. And the American version obviously has kind of a smile, so I have no idea why that is. I don't know, I guess Nintendo of America would probably think that kids would freak out if he didn't have a mouth, maybe? Who knows? I have no idea. It's like, look at that guy. He doesn't have a mouth. How is he going to eat? Holy cow. Holy damn. What the hell is going on here? He doesn't have a mouth. Holy damn. All right. I'm moving my hands and all that, and I hit my lamp. Holy cow. Okay, so that's number 9. Going to number 8. It's kind of a big thing, but kind of not a big thing. It's basically you got different points for different monsters, basically. And not because, you got the blobs or Frick 2 and all that. No, it's different points for the same monster in the different versions. Basically, you got your basic blob. I think the red blobs are 2, and the blue ones are 2. And in the American version and the Japanese version, the red ones I think are 1, and the blue ones are 1 also. Actually, no, I think the red ones are 2. I'm not 100% on all this, unless I have a sheet pretty much here, and I didn't write down every single one that is different. I just wanted to say that the points, not all of them, are different. Basically, that are different. Some are different, some are the same. Alrighty, so going down to 8 to 7. 7 is the title screen. As soon as you get through that Famicom disc loading screen, you notice right off the bat, boom, you got different music right there. I think it's because, one, the Famicom disc system had a better sound chip than the NES. The NES is obviously mono, and from what I hear is that the Famicom disc system, I think the disc system itself, is stereo. I'm not 100% on that, but I know from seeing something, I'm not 100% sure. But I know it had a better sound chip. That's why it has different music slate. Is it better? I don't think so. I think the American version is a better version. It's a different, has a different feel to it. That's what it is. And also, going with the title screen, we go with, in the American version, you got Princess Zelda pretty much said to be asleep. So you think that the first Princess Zelda went to sleep. Boom. There you go. But in the Japanese version, other than Ganon being spelled wrong and Triforce spelling being spelled wrong, it clearly says another Princess Zelda. Yes, it says another Princess Zelda. So pretty much the one from the first one is still alive and it's still around somewhere. But another Princess Zelda is asleep. And this is the one that Link's got to save. It's just one word would make a very much difference in the American version. Saying it, another Princess Zelda, would probably clear up a little things too. Because pretty much it would be like why did I rescue her in the first one only to pretty much get put to sleep in the second one? That's basically actually what I thought when I actually played the first one and rescued her, and then obviously played the second one first. I'm like, okay, I gotta rescue her in the first one only to be put to sleep in the second one. Okay. And then I learned later, it's like, oh, it's another Zelda. It's the first Zelda. Oh my goodness. And this is before Skyward Sword, so who knows where this Princess Zelda actually comes in. Could be before actually, it's probably after Skyward Sword. Somewhere. Who knows? Maybe around the Minish Cap or before the Minish Cap. Who knows? It's like, who knows? So we're going here. Oh, yes. In the American version, when you get an item, such as like a heart or a magic container or one of the palace items like candle, glove, raft, etc. Link has an animation of standing. He's like, da 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 da, and holds it usually with 2 hands outside in the end world, and then in the palace he only holds it with 1 hand, which, I have no idea why he does it with 1 hand in one place and 2 hands with the other, but who knows. But that mainly goes that in the Japanese version, you got to stab your item. There's no standing animation whatsoever. So you got to stab everything. You got to stab your heart container, your magic container, your candle, your glove, your raft, and even the small items like the trophy the water of life. And which brings us to, which I have to say is really kind of rather bizarre, is that to get the reflect spell, you gotta rescue the child. And to get that child, in the Japanese version, you gotta stab him. So you gotta stab a child to get him, to bring him back to the town, I think it's of Jurunia, and give him back to there, get the reflect spell. So it's interesting how you gotta stab a child to get him, to bring him to get the reflect spell. That's just kind of weird. And that's, I don't want to say maybe why they have a standing animation for items in the American version, but I wouldn't put it past Nintendo of America actually to do that. It's just one of those censorship, Nintendo and their bloody censorship. All right, so pretty much, other than my foot falling asleep, we'll go on to number 5, which is the leveling up system. Oh yeah, the leveling system is probably, it's actually quite easy, because if you actually just pretty much let it level up in the American version, you get a somewhat balanced character if you leave it alone and you pretty much level up how they want it to do it. But in the Japanese version, when you level up, you can go with any of the three. Pretty much, you level up, you have a choice of leveling up your attack, your magic, or your life at any level. It doesn't pretty much, it's like, oh, well, we suggest you level up your life first, and then your magic, and then your life again, and then your attack. And the Japanese version is like, okay, well, if you want to level up your attack twice or 4 times, that's cool, because you'll get that. And then you want to do your magic and all that. So pretty much you can essentially, at the end of the first dungeon, get up to like attack level 6 or 7, or if you want to grind for a while, 8. And you'll be sickly powerful, but your magic and life will suffer when you go through it there. And that will make you probably most likely die in Death Mountain. And that's the downfall with the Japanese leveling up system, is basically if you die, it goes back when you continue. This is a game over. When you continue, it will go back to when you were evenly leveled. So if you were 8 attacks, 1 magic, and 1 life, basically when you were even, you were all 1. So you will go back to all 1s when you continue. So it does kind of say, okay, well, if you're very good, then screw the system. You can pretty much get your attacks up, get your magic up, and don't worry about your defense because you'll be dodging everything. But if you're not good at it, then you can probably do your defense and your attacks and then your magic. Oh man, my foot's gone to sleep a little bit. All right. But that's pretty much it. The leveling up system is a little bit more handed to you in the American version, while in the Japanese version you can pretty much do what you want. Pretty much. That's what it is. And it also seems you level up a little sooner in the Japanese version for some reason. I don't know, it just seems like it. It's probably not, but it kind of seems like it. All right, so we're going back into number 4. Pretty much, right. When you load up your game, you name your character, and you press on that character, you'll notice that you need to change the disk side, or if you're on an emulator, change side A to side B, so forth. And you also notice that when you go into a town or a dungeon or even some key places, that pretty much you need to wait for loading. So it has loading times. Oh yes, we have loading times before the infamous PlayStation. Oh yes, the infamous PlayStation and their loading times. Oh yes, there's not as bad as that, but holy cow. It's loading times. It takes a few seconds off. I can see why this version is not for speedrunners, because you just load. It just loads. The loading times, I think it's a matter of a few seconds. That's about it. But still, there's loading times. And of course, on the Nintendo, on the American version, why would they have loading times? Because it's just a cartridge based. It's not disked. So that's pretty much it. So loading times would suck if there were in the thing, I would probably less be like, eh. But anyway, moving on. 5, 4, 3. Well, yes, 3 is a personal favorite of mine. And I personally actually I was so like, damn, this version is going to be good for the Japanese version. I basically walked out of the North Castle. I literally walked a few steps and I'm like, wait a second. Holy cow. And I stood there because I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. I stood there probably like a couple steps from the castle. I looked around me. I'm like, holy cow. The water is moving. Holy cow. I could not believe that at all. That just blew my mind. It's an 8-bit game. It blew my mind. I could not actually totally understand that. Holy cow. I could not believe that at all. And I'm freaking out about moving water because in the American version, it's all still. And moving water brings so much life to the map. I have to say, holy cow, going along like the coastline to get the heart piece near the first palace, holy cow, just beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Holy cow. And going on map stuff, maps differences, maps pretty much the same, except for sprites on the map. And that's like the river devils, the bit is different. And the random enemies are also different because, well, they're blue for weak enemies, blue like blue spirits, and white spirits for tougher enemies. And obviously, I know why they changed the white spirits because, well, it looks kind of suggestive like that. So, and you can't have like a spirit with like a guy, who knows. So anyway, so I can see why they changed that, and I'm fine with the American sprites for the random counters and pretty much that. But the water just blew me away. Holy cow! I just totally blew me away, and that's the thing. Holy cow! I just could not believe it. Oh my god, that was like almost like. Actually, I should put that for number 2 because number 2 was a little different. So number 2, going on to number 2, is that the palaces in the American version are all different color. You got gray, you got marsh green, and you got red, reddish brownish red. You got purple, green, like moss green, and you got big pink, or like what I call it, big pink, or yeah, it's big pink. And the Grand Palace is the same in both versions. So you got the first palace, the same in both versions, but after that, you got the second palace, which is in the marsh. The original, it's kind of, actually, it's a very light green. I'd say it's a marsh green, basically, or even a turquoise, kind of a turquoise-ish green like that. So pretty much going like that. But if you go in the second palace in the Japanese version, it's gray. And pretty much when you play Zelda 2 a lot, like the American version a lot, when you're in palaces, you kind of know where you're going. It just kind of clicks. Okay, well, I'm in a gray place. I'm in a gray palace, so I'm obviously in the first one. And that kind of screws me up for the second one in the Japanese version because wait a minute, it's gray, but the layout is different. It just kind of doesn't click that I'm in the second palace right now, especially if you're just kind of like going to like casually playing and you're like, holy cow, okay, like wait a minute, that's not supposed to be there. No, wait, that wall is not supposed to be there. Hey, why is their elevator go all the way down to the 2 floors right at the beginning? Oh yes, I'm in the second palace, not the first palace. That's what I am. Yes, so pretty much, and also that you go into the third palace, which is like red, brownish in the American. And then you go there, and this blew me away because I heard that all the palaces were pretty much gray in the Japanese version, and I was expecting that. So I went into the third one, and holy cow, it just blew my mind, and I actually got it on stream, too. That's great. Okay, it was marsh green. That was just insane. I was just like, okay, holy cow. I thought it was gray, and it's obviously not the green, or it's not the red. And the fourth one is also marsh green. The fifth one is obviously the Sea Palace is back to gray. And the sixth one which is the big pink, is marsh green. Now playing through the 6th palace, like it all kind of messed up with my mind what palace I was. It's like when I was playing it, I was like, wait a second, which palace am I at? And then obviously the Grand Palace is the same color. But it just kind of really, holy cow, just really, it blew my mind. And the thing is, there's a little different layouts too. I want to talk a little bit about the bosses. Is that the bosses are pretty much the same except for, I'll just go by one. So the first palace boss is Horsehead. Horsehead, basically the same. I came into his room and I'm like, okay, this is Horsehead. Same thing. A few seconds after I started fighting him, I heard this noise. And I'm like, what is that? And he did it again, and it's like, holy cow, it's coming from him. He actually kind of like does this high-pitched noise. And I'm like, holy cow, these guys are alive. Like, instead of moving, they're also like doing things other than just moving back and forth, trying to hit me with a friggin' mace. He actually, like, I would say honks at, like, a kind of like a high-pitched honk. Or like, I know it's probably more of a neigh, but it's insane. And holy cow, I just kind of blew my mind when I actually did that. And the second one is obviously the Helmet Head. Helmet Head is the same, but yeah, it's the same. I just want to say that when it comes down to the third one is the Iron Knuckle with the horse. I can't remember exactly what the name is. But the major thing is that the palace is green, marsh green. But when you get to the boss chamber, it goes back to gray. And this happens to all of it except for the Grand Palace. So in the fourth one, you got the giant Wizrobe, and obviously fighting on a gray thing. And the thing is, his character looks a little different. Instead of kind of going to the side, he's pretty much up front. So he's looking at you while shooting beams off to the side, which, I don't know. I'd say the character sprite looks good. It just doesn't make sense why he's shooting things and are going to the side. So I can see why they kind of made the sprite kind of look at the character. And then the fifth one is a bit different because that's the palace in the sea. There's a mid-boss, and the mid-boss is Horsehead. I think he still does the neighs. And then actually, instead of Goma in the American version, it's Helmet Head again. So it's slightly easier because Goma is a pain in the ass to get. So there you go. Holy cow. All right. And the sixth one is, what's his face? The dragon. And the dragon slightly looks different from the American version. I think the American version looks slightly better than the actual American version, or the Japanese version. But basically, he's basically the same. You're fighting him on a gray palace background. It just kind of felt weird when I was doing that. Just kind of like that. And the Grand Palace, the same. The only thing is Thunderbird actually does the same thing as Horsehead. He kind of like has that just like high-pitched noise. And that's about it. Shadow Link, the same. Dark Link, whatever you want to call him, the same. All right, so that's number 2. We're going down to the number 1. Number 1 thing, and this is what I really wish they put in the American version because it just is so great. Oh yes, and the palace. Oh yeah, my comments on the palaces. I like the American version because there's a variety, and nostalgia and bias, blah 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 blah. But it's good to play something. I don't know. I kind of like both of them. That's the thing. So it's all pretty much what version I'm playing. So back to number 1. This is crazy, and I gotta say this: when you go into a town and you read that sign for the first time, to see that Japanese text that you cannot read unless you know Japanese, you slightly hear noise, like talking. And it's not just I was absolutely like, holy cow. And that's not because the sign's talking to me. No, that's not just because the sign's talking to me. And I checked to the next person, and the same thing happened. It's crazy 8-bit talking. And that's what I love about this version is the characters are alive. The environments are alive. And that's the thing. Other than the loading times, I swear, if they just did the palaces all different. Kept the palaces from the North American version, and oh yes, and the music. I don't like the battle music or the random encounter theme, cave music, whatever, from the Famicom version because it's just not as upbeat as the American version. If they kept that, kept the all different color palaces and the crazy 8-bit talking, that would be the perfect Zelda 2 game I've ever played. And I bet I really hope there's a ROM hack out there of that version. 'Cause I'd play that version to death. And I would actually 100% pay money for a physical cartridge of that version. Oh yes, because I got my Zelda 2, and someday I'll get my Famicom disc system or the Famicom disc of Zelda 2 also. But if someone actually did a wrong hap of basically the Japanese version with different battle music, palace palette is basically swapped for the American version, and no loading times, and has a crazy 8-bit talking with the noise from the bosses, I would get that. That would just be the ultimate Zelda 2 experience for me. And that's the key thing. I would do, a lot of people don't like Zelda 2, and I can see that because we're pretty much just going full circle here. And that's the thing. It's the first Zelda game, so yes, I'm going to have a lot of strong opinions on that because that took me, I think almost 10 years to beat. Like, holy cow, that took me from about 87 or 88 to probably like 96 or something. I can't remember. But I wasn't playing constantly, but still, it took me about 10 years to beat that. Like, I have a lot of fond memories. It's the first, or it's the second game. I always get confused with which one was first, Mario Brothers or Zelda 2, one or the other. And I'm pretty sure I just go with Mario because I'm pretty sure it's Mario and then Zelda 2, but nevertheless, that's pretty much it. Holy cow, I like Zelda 2, and if you do like it, fantastic. If you don't, then cool. A lot of people like Majora's Mask, and I have to say, that's for another time. I really couldn't get into the game, and that, like I said, I'll get into that totally another time. There's Ocarina of Time, Link to the Past. If people, the whole issue with the Link to the Past, you're a Link to the Past fan or you're an Ocarina of Time fan. I'm a Link to the Past fan. That's pretty much it. I'm a Link to the Past fan. Ocarina of Time, fantastic game. There's so much more. It's I see Ocarina of Time as the prototype 3D Zelda, and they just improved it more and more as they went along. Majora's Mask, yes, even though I haven't got into it, the combat system, everything else, excellent in it. And then when they came out with Wind Waker, didn't really get into it because of the cartoon, and I was like, oh, what the hell is this crap, basically. But, I'm going back. After pretty much Ocarina of Time, nothing really actually came close of actually beating that. And when it came out, it was probably one of my favorite Zeldas. But then, nostalgia came in, and that's when I went back to Zelda 2. But going on, Wind Waker didn't fill the void until basically Twilight Princess. I basically played Twilight Princess. Yes, it had a very slow start. But moving on is that Twilight Princess took what was great about Ocarina of Time. Combat. Gameplay. I'm talking about gameplay. Story, it was a good... Personally, Twilight Princess, I find, has a great story, but that's, all about a matter of opinion. But I'm talking about gameplay. Gameplay, it took Ocarina of Time's gameplay, and they evolved it. And that's what I like. That's what I like to see, is a game evolving. And the thing is, I kind of went from Ocarina of Time to a little bit of Majora's Mask. I couldn't really get into it, like I said. So I didn't really see it evolve it to its fullest. I kind of went from a jump from Ocarina of Time to Twilight Princess. But the thing is, I'm going back and seeing Majora's Mask and Wind Waker and seeing how it evolved, it's like, for me, it looked like it was a huge jump, but the thing is, it wasn't. And if I was following the Zelda series at the time, I would see that. And the thing is, well, obviously, when Twilight Princess came out, it was the Wii, had motion controls, so obviously I knew the next Zelda, would have motion controls. And again, I got stiff. I was like, holy cow, I like my games as they are. I like them with a controller. I don't want to wave my sticks around, my controllers around, basically. And yes, at first when I played Skyward Sword, I did not like that. But the thing is, it very much grew on me. And that was something, actually, when I said, wow, this game, Skyward Sword, is quite fun. Which is, I thought I would never say. And that's quite interesting. And the thing is, I look back now, and I'm like, wow, Zelda's come a long way. And I have to say, I still haven't played Link Between Worlds, but I have to say, it looks... I'm going to have the nostalgic overload when I play it, probably, most likely. Because I'm a big Link to the Past fan. And the thing is, I really want them to do another like Zelda 2 game, but I know it's never going to happen. The closest was like the side sections in Link's Awakening, basically. And I don't know, it's good. I can see it. And it's very, very like the same stuff over and over and over again. But that's what it is. That's what Zelda is. It's the same thing. It's just recycled. And like when they actually, I don't know, like I don't really want to get into the timeline thing because I'll leave that for another episode. I wanted to just cover basically this, but I'll just leave it for another time. I don't want to get into like the whole timeline and my opinion on the timeline and this. I've already gone pretty much where like another episode probably could spend from it. So anyway, and I'm getting a little dry in mouth, so I gotta get some water. So I just want to wrap this up. So I want to thank everyone for basically listening to this, because it's not watching, listening, something like that. So pretty much, if you want to check me out, I'm Lord Virgilus. I do Let's Plays, I guess. Let's Plays. I call them runs, but they're essentially Let's Plays. And I'm not the greatest. I sound kind of boring. I'm very stiff. I'm trying to find my commentary style still, even though I went through like at least 10 series already, or 10 games already. I can be funny sometimes, but I go with more just information, my experiences type thing. Like, I don't know what exactly I'm doing. I just like playing games, and I want to talk about them. That's about it. So if you like that, check my stuff out. So if you like them, please like them, because I really enjoy doing this stuff, and it really does show me that there's other people out there that actually like what I'm doing. Because if they don't, I'll still do it, but it just seems like I'm very alone in this. That's about it. And other than that, if you like my stuff, even though like I'm kind of still in the beginnings, please subscribe. You can actually see me grow up. The channel, basically. Grow on the channel. And the thing is, if you want to comment, please comment. I don't care if it's really negative right now, as long as it's constructive negativity. If it's basically you suck comments, I'm not going to listen to those. Basically, you got to tell me why I suck and actually get to something other than you suck just because you suck. No, none of that. It's basically constructive criticism. I'm cool with that. Actually, I would love that, actually, because it shows me what I can improve on, what I'm good at, and what I'm not good at. So that'd be great. So, yes, blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to go through what I usually go through. So until then, I don't know if I'm going to keep on doing this. If I like this, hey, cool, let's go. Like it. Write down in the comments, like this podcast. I don't know if it's a podcast. This podcast. Do more of them. Love them. All right, so until next time, this is Lord Virgilus saying farewell and good night.